went to school back quite a number of years ago at the North Landing. Good to see you back, John.
Does Art do this quite a bit? Does Art?
Okay, this is a trick microphone, right? I have it. I wasn't ready to do this, but however, now that I'm here, gotta do something. Geez, I hope I can read this. I'm, got to tell you I'm so happy to be here. But at my age, I'm happy to be anywhere. If I'd known I was going to live this long, I would have taken much better care of myself. I have to hold this. I find, just to say this quickly, and I think it applies to some of us, not all of us, but surely some of us, I find that I'm fossilizing quite nicely while making the transition from obscurity to oblivion, ultimately to fade into the mists of time. Now, I didn't write this, somebody else did, but I thought that was worth repeating because it's kind of nice. I remember North Landing School with mixed emotion. The 3 most traumatic years of my life I spent in grade 3. I think it was those silly questions that they used to ask, like, Jack has 3 apples. He must divide them equally among 5 friends. What portion of an apple would each one receive? I said, well, just make some nice applesauce and let everyone help themselves. Or prove the world is round. Prove the world is round. I said, being a member of the Flat Earth Society, I resent the question. The world's flat. In desperation, I would pray, oh Lord, will I ever pass into grade 4? And the answer came back, perhaps, but not in my lifetime. But finally I squeezed through, and it was so exciting. I was so nervous that morning I could hardly shave. North Landing was a classic country school that featured a teacherage and a barn, and where to, if all else failed with an errant student, the teacher of the day reserved the right to take the Board of Education to the seat of learning. Nostalgia is particularly significant when applied to one's childhood, and some memories remain indelible. The look of despair in my mother's eyes when told of my father's passing in hospital in Swift Current. The courage and determination of my sister, Mary, after being pulled out of a buggy while trying to control a runaway horse and being dragged underneath and never letting go of the reins, with all of us aboard coming home from school. Searching for a child that wandered away from his family at Clearwater Lake and finding him about 4 days later by the river at North Landing, alive and well. Old Ivor Jensen and I helping a cow to deliver a calf. Wow. Seeing a huge herd of antelope cross our yard and over a fence and disappear into the ravine, leaving little strands of hair on the barbed wire in mute testimony of their passing. Watching Chuck Sorensen dehorn cattle. Wow. Watching from atop the basket tower while Pete Perrin and company crossed a herd of cattle in the river. And watching my brother Mike get a whack for eating before dinner and standing there crying with his mouth wide open, and me looking in there at all that bread and jam and peanut butter and stuff. That was awesome. And the lovely old river in all of its moods where I learned to swim, fish, and skate, tranquil and inviting in summer, but it would devour the most anything that tried to cross before the ice was ready in winter. It was especially fond of Bill Knox's truck, as I recall. I would be remiss if not thanking some of those who helped so much in those dreadful times. The genuine kindness of the Sorensens, the Walter McCrees, and so many others who helped along the way. I sincerely thank you one and all. I believe I acquired a degree in life here while fumbling through adolescence, and I think of those that taught me things that were so helpful later on in life. Oscar Everson, the late Oscar Everson, taught me to run a grain elevator. And Toad Gunderson taught me to drive a car. Raymond Gunderson taught me to drive a tractor and run a combine. Slim Jacobs taught me to run a hardware store. And Walter Van Busker taught me to run for cover. When he explained to me in graphic detail that if he ever caught me again within a 5-mile radius of any of his daughters, that I should surely consider myself to be on the endangered species list. And finally, this rather delicate revelation, while training in Regina to be a sailor, I pulled the long straw and was taught the joys of communing with nature with Crazy Alice in the back seat of a 1935 Ford. One owner, low mileage, turns on a brute credit, trades welcome. Now, I was told that I would hear chimes and bells and all sorts of wondrous things. But I found it damn near impossible to concentrate on the business at hand while a prospective buyer was outside jumping on the bumpers and testing the shocks and kicking the tires. So much for Honest Al's used car lot. Thanks to everyone for letting me do this. I'm glad.